Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 66 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, finishing off our Vanguard Space Marine unit with new models, learning the full Space Marine faction rules, and then trying all of that out in our game. Hello, I'm Will, I'm here with Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And today we're bringing you issue 66 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, which came with another 5 Space Marine models. This is another copy of the sprue that came with issue 63, giving us another 5 Vanguard models and actually completing the squads we started with that issue. If you'd like to see those full squads on the battlefield, you can do so using the timecode in the description or the chapter bars, but we'll have a look through the issue first. We have the battle record for the Suppressor squad. These are jump pack equipped units armed with powerful accelerator autocannons that provide mobile fire support for the Vanguard Space Marine forces. They have a unique armour pattern called Omnis Armour, which gives them a good balance between mobility and protection. And their battle record there, you can give them a name and a specialism as usual. And the same for the Eliminator squad, who are snipers, usually armed with bolt sniper rifles for taking out enemy commanders and infantry, but they can also carry las fusils, effectively anti-tank rifles, a scaled down version of the larger las cannon, and they have specialist equipment to help them in their role, of course. And there's their battle record there, as usual, with charts for generating names and specialisms. Now we learn about the Second Tyrannic War, in which the Hive Fleet Kraken descended upon the Imperium about 250 years after Hive Fleet Behemoth in the First Tyrannic War, this time striking along a wider front of the eastern fringe, rather than a single hammer blow. Early engagements saw the near complete destruction of the size of the Emperor and Lamentor's Space Marine chapters. They were eventually stopped at the world of Icar 4, again thanks to the genius of Marnius Calgar and the Ultramarines, but not before they completely ravaged the Eldari craft world of Ianden, killing millions of Eldari and reducing it to a shadow of its former glory, and it was only saved by the return of Prince Iriel and his Corsair fleets. Then we learn about Chaos Knights. We saw the Imperial Knights previously, where the Imperial Knights are noble defenders of the Imperium and paragons of virtue. The Chaos Knights are corrupt despoilers and desecrators, using their powerful war suits to cause destruction. And their house worlds, some of which they still maintain, tend to be fairly horrific places, and there's a few traitor houses mentioned there. Now we have background on Darnath Lysander, the captain of the Imperial Fist's first company, who after a tragedy was lost in the warp for 1,000 years, but then subsequently re-emerged, having fought his way free of captivity by the Iron Warriors, and returned to his chapter, where he was subject to rigorous interrogation, but eventually deemed to be pure, and returned to his position. And now Tor Garadon, captain of the third company of Imperial Fists. Originally a sergeant under Captain Lysander, he then ascended to a rank of full captain himself when Lysander was promoted to the first company again, and he's armed with a relic power fist called the Hand of Defiance. And we have a short story about the Astra Militarum fighting against cultists of the Genestealer cults. It's focusing on a squadron of Leman Russ battle tanks. There's a picture of one of those there, as well as a vehicle taken over by the Genestealer cults. And then the build guide for our new Space Marines. These are exactly the same as a few issues ago, except that they have different head options for the Suppressor and Eliminator. But the Infiltrators are all exactly the same copies of the models we had in the previous one, and once again, just to note that they have different base sizes. But that's it for our issue contents. We'll hand you over to Mike now, who will take us into our game.
So we got the data sheets for the new models we got in this issue and the previous issue, but we do have some new rules. We have the second part of the Angels of Death rules for the Space Marines, and this covers the Combat Doctrines. The Space Marines are highly trained to fight with various weapons and make use of different doctrines to get the most out of these different weapon systems. While we're playing Imperium missions, units with the Adeptus Astartes keyword gain the benefits of the active doctrine. So during the first battle round, the Devastator doctrine is active. In the second battle round, the Tactical Doctrine is active. At the start of the third battle round, you can choose to either stay in the Tactical Doctrine or advance straight to the Assault Doctrine. And then in the fourth and further battle rounds, you are in the Assault Doctrine. Each doctrine increases the armor penetration of certain weapon types by 1, but this does not stack with any other abilities that increase that ability. So the Devastator Doctrine improves the AP of heavy and grenade weapons by 1. The Tactical Doctrine improves the AP of rapid fire and assault weapons by 1. And the Assault Doctrine improves the armor penetration of pistols and melee weapons by 1. And on the next page you have the tutorial just explaining all that again. You can see the battle rounds in which different doctrines are active, and then below it it's just showing you which weapons are affected by each doctrine. So it is also worth noting that the close combat weapon there is the generic close combat weapon that every model is assumed to have if they don't have a melee weapon on their data sheet, so they would still benefit from the doctrines even though they technically don't have a specific melee weapon. And into the background for today's mission, the battle below. So the Imperium advanced units are making their way below the surface of Kjalma's skull into the Necron tomb complex. The Necrons obviously want to push these vermin out of their tomb and protect the Dolmen Gate, which is the key to summoning their reinforcements. Meanwhile, the Imperium are just trying to smash everything, this profane xenotech. And our mission today is Subterranean Warfare, which is a 50-power veteran mission. 2 battle maps from issues 38 and 58, and we have 5 objective markers and a 6-inch deployment zone each along the long edge of the board. Our 1 primary objective is Take and Hold, where at the end of each player's command phase, the player whose turn it is scores 5 victory points for each of the conditions they satisfy, for a maximum of 15. So you get 5 if you control 1 or more objectives, 5 if you control 2 or more objectives, and 5 if you control more objectives than your opponent. This cannot be scored in the first battle round. And we have 2 secondary objectives, one which we'll pick from the list available in the veteran mission pack, and then another one for this mission is Key Position, where at the end of each of your command phases you score 3 victory points if you control objective marker 3, so that's the one in the middle of the board, but that secondary objective also cannot be scored in the first battle round. So have a look at the armies we've picked and get the board set up and come back after we've finished deploying. So here is my Imperium force I've picked. It's 47 power of Space Marines and 3 power of Adeptus Sororitas. For my Space Marine contingent, I've got the Captain, the Regular Lieutenant, the one with the shield, and the Phobos Librarian as my 3 HQ choices. For my troops, I've got 2 5-man units of Assault Intercessors and a 10-man unit of Infiltrators. I've also got the Eliminators and the Suppressors. Now I've got a complete unit for each, so I might as well show them off. I also have the Penitent Engine because I had 3 power left over. Captain will be my Warlord, and for the Librarian's psychic powers I'm going to choose Soul Sight and Hallucination. And here is the Necron force defending the tomb complex.
So I've got my 3 HQ choices being the Overlord, the Royal Warden and the Plasmancer, my 3 mandatory troops choices, 2 units of Warriors and Immortals, and then we've got the Crypto Thralls to look after the Plasmancer, Canoptech Spider and 1 unit of Scarabs, the Canoptech Reanimator, 5 Death Marks and the 3 Tomb Blades, and obviously Overlord will be the Warlord.
So we've finished deploying. I might just about to make up the objectives. You have objective number 1 up there in the top left, objective 2 in the top right, objective 3 in the middle, objective 4 in the bottom left, objective 5 in the bottom right. Trying to go for a fairly balanced terrain setup, although it's going to be fairly open, so there's going to be an awful lot of shooting in this game, I reckon. Go my deployment first. On my left flank I have the Eliminators deployed slightly ahead to get some cover in that structure and behind the pipe. Got a unit of Assault Intercessors down here behind these boxes. Got the bulk of my force in the middle with the Infiltrators, all 3 of my characters and the Suppressors. And on my right flank I have the other unit of Assault Intercessors and the Penitent Engine.
And my deployment, I didn't put anything in reserves either, so we've got the Scarab Swarm on the far left, the unit of Warriors in the road with the Plasmancer and the Crypto Thralls behind them, the Canoptech Spider there. In the middle is the other unit of Warriors, the Death Marks are behind them, there's the Overlord, the Tomb Blades and the Canoptech Reanimator are both hiding behind the Hemotrope Reactor, and on the right flank is the Immortals and the Royal Warden.
Before we roll off to see who goes first, I'm going to reveal that my secondary objective is Raise the Banners.
And I also picked the same one.
Going to be a lot of banner raising then, so rolling off, see who gets to go first.
Well, I rolled a 6, and I suppose I will go first because I think there's the advantage in this mission for the whoever goes first.
So we'll be on to Necron's turn 1. Well, at the start of the turn we would see the Necron's command protocol.
So we've got Protocol of the Eternal Guardian. Even though I'm moving first, I will go for the one that gives me cover for units that don't move, because 1 or 2 units might not move and they might benefit from cover.
Yeah, and I'm in the Devastator Doctrine as well. And maybe we'll have this sort of snazzy little overlay to keep track of all the protocols and command points and victory points and things, rather than us having to refer to them all the time. So let us know in the comments what you think of that.
In my command phase I gain a command point, so up to 7. My Will Be Done went on the Immortals, which are on the other side of the board, and the Reanimation Beam went on the Warriors in the middle. Warriors on the left flank have moved up down the road. They advanced and got a 2 because they wouldn't be in range if they didn't. The Scarab Swarm moved through the wall. Spider is following up Warriors, the Plasmancer is behind the box, and the Tomb Blades zoomed across and go on top of the box, and the Crypto Thralls are behind the Plasmancer. The central unit of Warriors, which is the one with the animation beam, have moved up. They could have got in range of Objective 3 and raised the banner on it, but then they wouldn't be able to shoot. The Overlord is behind them. The Death Marks did not move, so they can shoot at full effectiveness. And finally on the far flank, the Immortals moved forward to shield the Royal Warden, who is going to stand on Objective 2 and raise the banner on it, and the Reanimator moved round the Hemotrope Reactor. And so as I said, at the end of the movement phase, the Royal Warden will raise the banner on Objective 2, and the Crypto Thralls will raise the banner on Objective 1. And also at the end of the movement phase, the Plasmancer's Harbinger of Destruction will go off. He can just about see an Eliminator, so it'll hit them as the closest unit. So, mortal wounds on 4s, 3 dice, 2 mortal wounds.
There's 1 dead already. Take away this one at the front.
So on to the shooting phase. I'll do the Plasmancer first. He's going to shoot at the Assault Intercessors on this side of the board. D3 shots. 3. Hitting on 3s. Only 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. No. And the Warriors with the Gauss Reapers will shoot at the same Assault Intercessors, or the 7 who are in range will. 14 shots at the Assault Intercessors, hitting on 4s because they advance. Still got 9 hits, wounding on 3s. 7.
7 4+ saves, because we've got cover. So that's failed 4, so that's 2 dead Assault Intercessors.
I'll do the Tomb Blades next. They're going to be shooting at the same Assault Intercessors.
Yeah, I think I will use Transhuman now. Probably should have used it a little bit earlier.
So the Gauss is in rapid fire range, 4 shots on 3s. 2, winning on 4s, Transhuman. Oh, 2 wins anyway.
4+ armour, made 1.
And Particle Beamer, 6 shots, which will hit, winning on 4s. 3.
So 2s. I'll reroll that 1 into a 1. So that's 2 dead Assault Intercessors so far.
Finally the Tesla, hitting on 3s, 6s are an additional hit. Hey, only hit once, wounds on a 4. It's a wound, ignoring cover.
3+, made that one.
I'll do the Calptech Spider, shooting at the Suppressors this time. 12 shots on 4s. 8 hits, wounding on 3s. 7 wounds, with no AP though.
Yeah, so there's one guy who's technically out in the open, so I'll do him first. 3s. 1 wound so far. Still alive. 3 left. Dead. A guy in cover has a 2. Yes, he's fine.
The Warriors in the centre are going to try and finish off those 2 Assault Intercessors. 10 shots on 3s. 6 hits, wounding on 4s. 1.
3+ armour. Made it.
I'll do the Immortals next. They're going to shoot the Infiltrators because it's the only real target they can see. 8 shots because 2 of them are not within rapid fire range, hitting on 2s because of my double gun. 7 hits, wounding on 3s. 4.
Put people in cover, so 4+ saves. Made them all.
Finally, I've got the Death Marks. They can all see the Suppressors over the top of the box. 5 shots on 2s. They all hit. Wounding on 3s, 6s do a mortal wound. 3 wounds and a mortal wound.
4+. Well, they're all dead.
Then we're on to the charge phase. These Scarabs are going to charge those 2 Eliminators.
The Eliminators will just set to defend.
And the charge roll is in. And they'll charge like that, keeping one base within 6 inches of the Spider. And they have 12 attacks, hitting on 4s. 6s wound automatically. Well, no 6s. Just 4 hits, wounding on 5s. 1.
3+. Get it in the box. Nope, takes a wound. 7 attacks back on 3s. 4. And wounding on 3s. Getting 2.
6+ armour. Nope.
Eliminators are actually hitting on 2s because this is defend, so I got 1, 2, so that wounds on a 3. No. In the morale phase, these Assault Intercessors will take a morale test. So morale test for those Assault Intercessors. They fail, so 1 runs away. Does Sarge run away? No. And the Necrons will complete raising the banners on objective 1 and 2. But that is it for Necrons turn 1 on to Space Marines turn 1. So command phase, go up to 5 command points, and then over here on the left the Eliminators are moving out of melee. The Lieutenant's moving across to come and take their place, and Lone Sergeant's going to stay there to raise the banner at the end of the movement phase. Over in the middle, Infiltrators are moving up into the middle building, and the Librarian has moved so that he can get line of sight on those warriors opposite them. And over here, the Assault Intercessors are moving up normally. Captain's going to place the banner, and the Penitent Engine Advance going to try and charge those Immortals. The Psychic phase, we're going to start off with Soul Sight going on the Infiltrators. He needs a 6, he gets it with a 9.
I won't try and deny that.
Okay, and then he'll try and do Smite, needing a 5, getting an 8.
I will try and deny that. No.
So that will hit the unit warriors with the Gauss Flayers. D3 mortal wounds, all 3. So that's 3 warriors, no reanimations, because that was not a shooting or melee attack. On to the shooting phase, where I think I'll do the Lieutenant. He'll fire his pistol at the Scarabs. 2 shots hitting on 2s, they both hit. Wounding on 3s, 6s do a mortal wound in addition. Well, there's 2 wounds and a 6.
2 5+ saves though, because cover. Nope, so kills the base, puts 1 down to 2 wounds, and then does a mortal wound.
Does the destroyed base come back?
Nope.
And we'll do the Infiltrators next. They're going to shoot at that unit of warriors opposite them. 20 shots from the Infiltrators, rerolling everything because of Soul Sight. Oh, and 6s automatically wound as well because of their carbines. Rerolling the misses. 5 auto wounds and 12 regular hits. These wound on 4s. That's 10 wounds overall.
3 have cover, so 3 at a time on 4s. Oh, 3s, made them all. And again, made them all. 3 more. Right, 2 dead, and there's only 1 more left, which I saved, so 2 dead. Reanimation on 4s rolling 1s because of the reanimation beam. Oh, no, 3 and a 2.
Just got these assault intercessors left. They're going to shoot their pistols at the Immortals. Sergeant that squad has a plasma, which I'm not going to supercharge, so the white dice are the bolt pistols and the black dice are the plasma. So 2 bolt hits and a plasma hit. Don't get aura abilities because he's doing the action. Black dice wounds on 3, otherwise it's a 5. No, nothing at all. In the charge phase, Lieutenant's going to charge the Scarabs. Charge roll is a 3. That might be enough because the pipe's there. So he does get to fight over the pipe. Over here, the Penitent Engine will charge the Immortals.
And I will spend a command point to Overwatch, even if I can chip a wound off, it might help. 10 shots on 6s. 2 hits wounding on 4s. 1.
6 plus armour. No. 5 plus to ignore. No. Takes a wound, down to 4. Its charge roll is a 7, so it's definitely in. The Assault Intercessors on that side will charge as well. They are going to need an impressive roll. More than a 5. I will re-roll that charge though, because an 8 is doable. Oh, there you go, an 11. So both those units will get in. So I'll do the Penitent Engine first. 5 attacks on 4s, re-rolling everything because of Zealot. So they all hit. It's strength 8, so wounding on 3s. 4 wounds at AP minus 4.
So 4 dead, I get to reanimate. I'm getting 1 back. Reanimating to try and keep Royal Warden safe.
I'll do the Assault Intercessors then. Sort of shuffling around, they can all get in to fight the Immortals and stay out of range of the Reanimator. 21 attacks from the Assault Intercessors, hitting on 3s. 16 hits, wounding on 5s. 7 wounds.
7, 4 plus saves. Yeah, they're dead.
And I will consolidate one of the Assault Intercessors to bring in the Royal Warden, just so he can't do any shooting next turn. Fine, I've got the Lieutenant, and he's going to pile in around the pipe, get out of line of sight of some things. He has 5 attacks hitting on 2s. I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll one of those 1s. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s, yeah, strength 5. 1 wound, so I'll kill the wounded base.
Does it come back? No.
Yeah, just showing I'm not consolidating the Lieutenant into that Scarab base, so it is unengaged.
It's just the Royal Warden fighting back against the Assault Intercessors. 3 attacks on 3s. 2 hits wounding on 3s. 1.
2 plus armour, made it. Well, at the start of the morale phase, I hold objective 2, so the Necron banner goes away. And at the end of the turn, my banners go up on objectives 4 and 5. And then we're into Necron's turn 2.
Command protocol is the Sudden Storm. I will go for +1 movement. I was hoping to be able to do the one where I can do an action and still shoot, but that's not going to be possible, so +1 movement.
And also at the start of the second battle round, I go into the Tactical Doctrine automatically, so now Rapid Fire and Assault Weapons have AP-1, which I think is literally just the bolt carbines on the Infiltrators.
So in my command phase, the Counterfeit Spider have brought back a Scarab base in the ruins over here. My will be done will go on these warriors that still haven't taken any casualties. The reanimation beam will go on the warriors that have taken casualties, and I'll use the resurrection orb on them. 5 missing, coming back on 4s, rerolling 1s. Just 2. And at the end of my command phase, I gain 6 victory points because I hold objective 1, and it also has my banner on it. And then in the movement phase, the Scarabs have jumped over the wall to continue to accost the Eliminators. Tomb Blades flew over here. They can get with 3 of them within range of that objective, so at the start of the shooting phase that banner will go away, so I'll control the objective. The Counterfeit Spider has moved up on top of the building because I want to charge the Lieutenant, but it can't go through the wall, so it has to go that way. All of the warriors have moved towards the middle of the board. Plasmons are following up the warriors on your left, and the Crypto Thralls moving up as well, but also staying in range of the objective. The Death Mark's moved up a bit because we might need some support in the centre. And over near objective 2, the Royal Warden has fallen back, and the Reanimator has moved away from that mess, and the Overlord has moved to deal with it, I suppose. It might not go very well, but we'll see. And Harbinger of Destruction, the closest visible unit is the Infiltrators. No mortal wounds. I'll shoot with the Tomb Blades first. They're going to try and kill that lone Assault Intercessor Sergeant. 4 shots with the Gauss. 2 hits winning on 3s. No. Tesla gets 3 hits. Winning on 3s. 2, ignoring cover.
3 plus armour. Made 1.
And the Particle Beamer, they all hit. On 3s. Only 3.
2 plus. He lives.
Plasmancer is going to shoot at the Infiltrators.
Going to spend 2 command points for Transhuman Physiology because it's a big unit.
D3 shots, 1. Hits on 3. Yes, I'll spend a command point to automatically wound with Techno-Oracular Targeting.
Put it on a guy out of cover. 6. Nope.
2 damage.
Scrubbed by the medic.
Oh yeah. The warriors with Gauss Flayers will shoot at them then, because they win on 4s anyway. On 3s. Only 7 hits, winning on 4s. 3.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it on guys out of cover, so 4s. Oof, failed all of them. So one guy's dead, another guy's taken a wound.
The other warriors will all shoot at them as well. 20 shots hitting on 2s, because that's already done. Still only 13 hits, wounding on 4s. 12 wounds.
Still on guys out cover, 12, 5+ saves. Made 4. That's 8 wounds going through.
I did the Reanimator next, it's going to shoot the Assault Intercessors on objective 2. 4s. 3 hits, wounding on 3s. Nothing. The Death Marks are going to go next. I'm going to just shoot at the Infiltrators again as well, because I really need to clear them off. 5 shots on 3s because they moved. 3 hits, wounding on 4s, 6 to do a mortal wound, just the 1 wound.
5+. No.
You forgot the Spider, but it's going to shoot at the Intercessor Sergeant on a wound. 12 shots on 4s. 8 hits, wounding on 3s. 5.
5, 2+. He's dead.
On to the charge phase. The Overlord will charge the Assault Intercessors by objective 2. He rolls an 11. So he'll just go there, and the Reanimator also charge, but the 2 minimum distance is enough, so it can just pile in like that. The Scarabs will charge the Eliminators. The 4 gets them to there. And finally the Spider will charge the Lieutenant. A 9. And it'll come down off the building to there, and I'll pick the Spider to fight first. 5 attacks hitting on 4s. 2 wounding on 2s. 2 wounds.
4+ and vulnerable save. Made both.
I'll do the Scarabs next. 8 attacks on 4s. No automatic wounds. Just 3 normal hits, wounding on 5s. Oh, alright, 3 wounds.
3+ saves. Made them all.
And we'll do the Overlord.
Going to spend a command point for transient physiology on the Assault Intercessors.
3s to hit. Only 2. 4s, nothing. 4 attacks on 4s. 1 hit, wounds on a 4. No.
I'll do the Lieutenant's hitbacks first. 5 attacks hitting on 2s. 5 hits. Wounds on 5s. 1 wound.
6 to save. Nope, down to 4 damage. 4 wounds.
Okay, the Eliminators while I'm here. 7 attacks, 5 hits on 3s, you're rolling 1s. 3 wounds.
6s. Nope, 3 damage.
Finally, the Assault Intercessors will pile in, and they'll put all of their attacks on the Overlord, I think. 21 attacks hitting on 3s. 15 hits, wounding on 5s. 1.
4+. No, he takes a wound. He's down to 4.
Assault Intercessor there would consolidate into the Raw Warden to bring him in.
The War Warden has 3 attacks, which hit twice. Wounding on 4s. Transhuman still in effect. 2.
He's better than the Overlord. Save both. The Infiltrators have to take a morale test, and they're not in range of the captains. Is he going to need to roll a 1? No, so they failed. So 1 will run away. 3 left, running away on 1s. Another one runs away. But at that point I am just going to concede because I don't really have an army left and it's all mostly tied up. And even though I will technically hold 2 objectives and get more victory points than the Necrons, that's not going to last very long. So that'll be a Necron victory. We'll recap that game for you now. So that was the game for issue 66 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Yeah, I don't think it was down to any particularly good play on my part, or even good rolling. Some of my rolling was pretty atrocious. It's possibly partially our fault for not putting enough line of sight blocking cover, but it's quite difficult with the terrain we actually have to do that. We could put 4 buildings, I suppose, but perhaps wasn't enough cover. Your Penitent Engine Assault Intercessors did an excellent job of clearing off Objective 2. The problem was that at that point I was encroaching on 3 and 4, and probably would have been able to just score lots of victory points.
Yeah, I think I actually ended up picking the wrong army for this mission. Took quite a long range army for a very close range engagement. I think I mentioned it to you while we were setting up that this would be interesting to do if we started on the short edges rather than long edges, and I think my army would have worked a lot better that way. Would have been able to use the range advantage. And I have multiple units with concealed positions that I didn't end up using very much because, as it stood, we started so close to each other that it's not a surprise that the game didn't take very long. You went first, so you were able to tie up my Eliminators and blow away the Suppressors. And to be fair, I think if I went first, it would have been fairly boring for you as well.
And I absolutely did not want to let the Eliminators and Suppressors shoot if I could, because those were the big guns. You said before we started that you were pleased not to see any Destroyers or anything, but 12 powers of Destroyer and Destroyer Lord buys quite a lot of extra guns if I'm going for that. So
yeah, and with that respect, I probably won't run a unit of 10 Infiltrators. I wanted to show off the new models. Fortunately, we didn't get to see Suppressors, although even though they might look scary, they're not any tougher, really, than Assault Intercessors.
Yeah, the big unit of 10 Infiltrators was scary from an objective holding point of view, but the unit of 10, if I focus fire, will just go down. The Eliminators, if they're in cover, obviously get the camo cloaks, so that makes them survivable to shooting, but the Scarabs can still tie them up in melee. It doesn't help, but there's that.
We can talk about Eliminators and Suppressors in general. I do really like the Eliminator models, and they do fill a particular niche in the Marine army. I wouldn't say they're amazing against Necrons. Necron characters tend to be fairly tough, but the Mortis round can put some extra damage on the bigger things or take out a Tomb Blade or something. I guess they're fairly mobile as well, because you've got the third round that gives them +1 to hits. They can move and shoot without penalty.
And the Hyperfrag round is not not all that useful against Necrons most of the time. I suppose it might do alright against warriors, especially in the Devastator Doctrine, but against lighter equipped armies it's pretty devastating.
Against large groups of light infantry, which Necrons aren't.
And it's also, as a sniper unit, having the extra rounds does give them more utility as well. They're not just a sniper unit, effectively.
When they were introduced, one of their rounds let them shoot at things they couldn't see, which was very useful. Otherwise, I think they're still fairly good.
Yeah, they're not quite as overpowered as they were in that one game of Shadow Spear that we played quite a long time ago, but I'll put a link to it.
Yeah, if you want to see Eliminators how they used to be. But Suppressors, I don't think they're very good. Honestly, I'd probably take another unit of Assault Intercessors over the Suppressors. I suppose they're not too bad. Strength 7, AP -1, 2 damage, and they get a lot of shots. I guess against like the Spider and the Animator, they're fine. The problem is that they're not any tougher than Assault Intercessors, and they can move fast and they can deep strike, but they have heavy weapons, so they have the penalty for moving and shooting with heavy weapons. They're only hitting on 4s, so their damage output is reduced that way. They have a really long range, so you might as well just put them on the board anyway. They're not good in melee, so you don't want them anywhere near anything strong. They have a heavy weapon, so if you want to get the most AP with them, you need to have them on the board so they can't deep strike. And they do have the smoke screen keyword, which does let them use the smoke grenade stratagem, but we don't get that with the collections. They don't even have the durability boost.
They do have the suppressing fire ability, but I don't really know how useful that is, or certainly, at least with this collection anyway.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, Overwatch is something you do have to be careful of, but it doesn't really do that much damage because you're only hitting on 6s, and it only works on infantry units as well, so you also have to score a hit for it to work. So again, if they move and shoot, so they're less likely to hit, it actually hurts their chances of using that. I suppose you could actually shoot each one of them at a different unit and then apply it to a different unit, but then you're spreading out the damage output then.
Yeah.
Perhaps if I had bigger squads than I do in this collection, like a full unit of 20 Necron Warriors or 10 Immortals, that would be more handy because those would be a bit more scary to charge, but we'll have to see. We'll have to try it out in another game and see if it's as particularly useful.
Also, worth noting that the only way to get Suppressors is in that Space Marine Combat Patrol, or with this magazine, they don't actually have a separate kit, whereas Eliminators and Infiltrators do.
More generally, I suppose, though, it is nice to have some Space Marine ranged units. Almost everything was melee up to this point.
Yeah, and it's nice to have them around about the time we got the Combat Doctrines as well.
Well, sadly, we didn't get to see them that much in this game because it was over too quickly, and the one that is at the start is less useful for the models you had.
Yeah, I think probably going to spend a lot of time in the Assault Doctrines because it's a fairly heavy melee focused.
In the Tactical Doctrine, makes the Infiltrators pretty scary if you do actually have all of them shooting with AP -1.
Outriders.
But yeah, you definitely want the Assault Doctrine for all those chainswords because...
But even an Infiltrator's still half decent if he gets into melee, and an extra AP -1 on his fists, it's still pretty handy, and changing AP 0 to AP -1 is actually a much bigger impact than changing AP -3 into AP -4. Even the Assault Intercessors pistols at AP -2 is fairly threatening.
And it does make me sort of more concerned about Space Marine units as well, because in this collection, Space Marines actually come with quite a lot of AP -1 built in, and mostly melee weapons, so it was decent enough against Necrons, especially in large numbers, but suddenly if all that's bumped up to AP -2, it becomes really threatening to Warriors and Immortals and stuff.
But also, one last thing on Suppressors, they're a bit of a pain to put together, because this new Star Flying Stand, well I say new, this flying stand they use now, certainly looks cool. It is a pain to put them together, and since Suppressors have a really long gun, so their centre of balance is a bit weird, they're a massive pain to get on the base. But otherwise, I don't think there's too much more to say about this game or this issue. So as always, if you do like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. If you've been playing along, tell us how you got on or how you got on with the Suppressors and the Eliminators. We should have Stormbringer content coming out at the same time as this as well. So if you're interested in Age of Sigmar, do have a look at that series. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.